We happen to have a voter in our studio right now, right here on the set. It's Jalen.
Yes.
You have finished your ballot.
I
Do you
have.
mind telling us about who you chose and why? I know this was tough for you to pick who you thought the MVP
Absolutely.
would be.
And for fans, I want them to know that, like, this voting process is something I take really serious. And it's not just because of the teams or, like, what's at stake. It's a level of responsibility that I have to my comrades to actually pay attention to the games on a nightly basis and gauge the information and not have any personal agenda in any way, shape, or form. And the hardest award was the MVP. It was the toughest one, but my winner is...
Drum roll, please.
James Harden.
Wow. That's who I would pick, too. Okay,
James
why?
Harden.
Shock.
Why?
James Harden is the only player besides Michael Jordan in the history of the NBA, to score 2,700 points, have 500 rebounds and 500 assists in the same season. Whew.
Yeah.
He averages almost 9 points more than Giannis.
And the Rockets aren't doing anything if he doesn't carry that team on his back. You said that so many times throughout this year that his back must have been hurting.
Correct. And I want to hear what your opinion is, but one other thing I wanted to put on your mind. And also when I go through the voting process, who gave us that wow factor this year? Yeah. Who, when we were coming back to do our show the next day, led our show? James Harden seemed to be that guy.
So the only reason why I like that as a pick, you can't go wrong with either of these guys. I would go with Giannis, but the question I have is, it reminds me, going with Harden in this situation reminds me a bit of the Westbrook MVP situation where we all got worked up about a guy who was doing this special triple-double thing, but that was kind of a stat, but it didn't necessarily tell a story of the season. I think Harden's a little different because he took over this team and put them on his back when they had a bunch of injuries, but I do think that it's possible we can get caught up in these, it's never been done before. So it doesn't matter, it's never been done before.
MVP?
I like Giannis because I accept the fact, I pushed against this for a long time, but I accept the fact that the MVP is a narrative award. And I think the story of this season is not that James Harden is great. We knew James Harden was great. He's already won the MVP before. The story of this season is that Giannis took another step, and they got the #1 seed in the East because of Giannis.
Okay, who's the Rookie of the Year quickly? Because Trae Young was making a little push on you.
He did, and I know you want to represent A-Town any chance you get. I'm going with Luka Doncic.
Nice.
Because from beginning to end, he's been not only a terrific performer, but he also was playing so well, he garnered all-star consideration. That's when Trae Young started to take off.
Yeah.
Right.
Game-winning shots, more points than Trae, more rebounds than Trae. However, if you're the Hawks, you not only get Trae, but you get the mass first-round pick.
Yeah.
So they did really well in that exchange. Yeah. But for Rookie of the Year, you know your league is in a great place when the two toughest awards are MVP and Rookie of the Year.
I hated that trade, but I feel dumb now because it seems like a really smart trade. I agree with you, Luka should get it, but I think Trae Young is a realistic consideration. You think about wow moments throughout this season, I feel like Trae Young has had more than Luka Doncic. I know you don't give him Rookie of the Year on wow moments, but the story of Trae Young from having a terrible summer league and also being kind of thought of as a mistake as far as the trade's concerned to now being a realistic consideration, I think it deserves a tiny little Rookie of the Year trophy.
He finally got comfortable.